as a result, when we use AI tools because we want to be efficient, we want to be fast, we rob ourselves of opportunities of having repositories in our minds of some information. So these things are standard and they are expected, and we think the readers actually read them in that sequence. But this is one of the myths about academic writing. In the course of the development of your dissertation, this is one of the best investments that you can make in your time. There's a lot of things about AI tools that make them attractive for academic writing. And I think so far, the many ways in which it is being advertised for most of the part is actually fairly accurate. So if you want to write things more efficiently or faster, then the AI tools are going to be the tools for you. But then where the issue starts is that academic writing was never meant to be an efficient process, and not because we like to torture ourselves to death, but because they are very careful, complex processes that have layers and layers that we have to go through in order to develop a coherent piece of work that makes a lot of sense and actually is rigorous, because that's one of the things that we're interested in. So what normally happens with academic writing is that a lot of the sections that you're going to write, let's say you're working on your dissertation right now, you are going to have at the very least these 5 standard sections. You'll have an introduction, and then you're going to have a literature review section followed by methods. Then you're going to give us the results of your study, and then you're going to present a discussion. So these are the standard sections that we will typically expect to see in a dissertation or an academic article. And then it happens that maybe you're going to include an abstract. And sometimes people also include an additional chapter 6, which looks at conclusions to the entire study rather than making it part of the discussion. So these things are standard and they are expected, and we think the readers actually read them in that sequence. But this is one of the myths about academic writing. So academic readers actually are usually going to start with, if you have an abstract, the abstract, then they will go to the introduction, then they will go to your discussions and conclusions, then they will read the rest. So this is how we actually read, and the writing process is even messier. Within the writing process, you are going to revisit the sections that you write earlier multiple times throughout the lifetime of the manuscript. And the simple reason that we revisit them is that you have different pieces of the puzzle that are scattered across the different sections that you're going to be writing. And sometimes the piece that helps you to, for example, finish your literature review is in the results. When you start analyzing the data that you have collected, then you're going to have to go back and you're going to have to revise the literature review. So even though we have this linear, predictable structure in terms of how we write, the process of developing these manuscripts is actually in no way linear. So as a result, when we use AI tools because we want to be efficient, we want to be fast, we rob ourselves of opportunities of having repositories in our minds of some information that we read could have been potentially relevant, but we would not have known until we actually got to the back end of the paper. But because we read it, even though we didn't use it the first time, we know to find it and we know to go back and we know to incorporate it. So this is why the reading in itself is a very essential step in academic writing. There are a lot of things that in the first instance, they seem like they're not that significant, they are not that valuable. But then once you actually start to do the writing, something helps you to see how those things were relevant and you can piece them together. So while in the beginning, it looks like it's an inefficient, time-wasting process to read everything yourself, in the course of the development of your dissertation, this is one of the best investments that you can make in your time in the early stages, because you're going to have access to the information that helps you to improve the work and that helps you to write something that's going to be more aligned, more coherent, and more rigorous, and with more clarity in terms of what the contributions are. So this is the starting point for me. If we are talking about using AI in academic writing, then the first thing that we have to understand is why for centuries and centuries we have done things in the most inefficient ways. And then based on that, the question will be whether through the use of AI tools, we're able to achieve the same things.